to all our panelists and the participants. This is the second in the series of 12 webinars being hosted by Meshmix Media in collaboration with Laghu, Udyog, Bharati, Karnataka, IMS Foundation, and Meshmix once again on the topic, the future of aerospace in India, Vision 2040. On behalf of the host, I personally welcome this very high-profile domain experts to this second web series coinciding with India Manufacturing Show 2025 being scheduled for November 6th to 8th, 2025 in BIC in Bengaluru. A warm welcome to our panelist, Sri Srinivasan Balasubramaniam, CEO, International Aerospace Manufacturing Private Limited, Sri Venkatesh Mudragala, co-founder and COO, J Aerospace, Wing Commander P. Madhusudanan, Vice President, Aerospace and Defense, Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation, Sri Deepak Dadoti, Managing Director, Server Controls Aerospace and Technologies Private Limited. I'm B. Shekhar, South India correspondent for a US-based magazine, and also I work for IMS Foundation and Laghu Udyog Bharati. A very warm welcome once again to all our high-profile panelists. Let me briefly touch upon today's web session on aerospace sector, focusing on the topic, Future of Aerospace in India, Vision for 2040. As India navigates its ascent towards becoming a global aerospace powerhouse, the sector stands at the inflection point now, from indigenously built aircraft and satellites to launching ambitious space missions and fostering a vibrant aerospace and manufacturing ecosystem. The country is gearing up for an era of transformation. India's aerospace growth is expected to play an increasingly important role in the global market, with projections valuing the domestic aerospace market at 30 billion by 2030. Likewise, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation recorded a massive increase in domestic air passenger volumes during fiscal 23-24, signaling a very robust demand for air travel and a strong recovery trajectory. Of late, India as a country has attracted major investments from global aerospace giants and is increasingly seen as a destination for high-profile, high-value manufacturing in this mission-critical sector. This knowledge series session will delve into India's strategic roadmap for Aerospace 2040, highlighting the convergence of technology, policy, and industry collaboration required to achieve global leadership. This discussion will focus on how India can nurture cutting-edge innovation, scale advanced manufacturing, and leverage artificial intelligence, automation, and sustainable technologies to stay ahead in a rapidly evolving global landscape. With this small preamble, I now invite all the panelists to kindly make their opening remarks on the topic, Future of Aerospace in India, Vision 2040. Can I request Sri Srinivasan sir to start first, please?
Hello everyone, I'm Srinivasan Balasubramanian and I'm the CEO of International Aerospace Manufacturing Private Limited, a joint venture between Rolls-Royce and HAL. And we are into the manufacturing of metallic parts, basically under the engine, compressor side and turbine side, supporting the high-performing needs of Rolls-Royce and other engine makers around the world. And we also have an integrated special processing and other kind of machine building capabilities in-house. And I am very keen to understand the participation from the other panelists and looking forward to the questions from the people.
Wing Commander, sir. Can you unmute, sir, please?
Yeah. I was just struggling with my mouse. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great opportunity for me to be here. If I look at the numbers, let me look at only the commercial airplanes. The latest Boeing commercial market outlook for the period 2025 to 2044 has been out very recently. And the numbers are stupendous. while the global market is assumed to grow at 4.2% when it comes to passengers, the Indian market is supposed to grow at something like 7.3%. And the airplane growth, while the globe is growing at 3.1, the Indian market is supposed to grow at about 6.7%. Huge numbers. But here comes this one. Why the Indian market is big? The planes we don't make. We don't make a lot of, unlike few players like Mr. Srinivasan, there are a few players who make components. The planes which you fly are not ours. The components, the repairing is not done here. The fuel is not ours. Nothing is ours except the passengers and the money which flows in. So probably by 2040, as the title very much says, what can we do to show that by 2040 we can have a large pie of this? And I, as part of Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation, which is a body of the government of Tamil Nadu, is in this job to ensure that we have a larger say in this entire ecosystem. While we would be one of the largest in the world by 2040, why not we play a larger role than what it is as on date by 2040? That's what my organization aim is. At the same time, the very focus of this discussion is around that. So probably as the discussion goes forward, we'll evolve certain solutions which may be implementable.
Deepak sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, all my dear friends and ladies and gentlemen. Really, it's a great opportunity for me to interact with all the stalwarts of the industry and respective people. Actually, Servo Controls Aerospace and Technology Private Limited started in 2002 in Belgavi in a house garage actually, servicing of servo valves and grown to indigenize a lot of critical technologies in space sector, aerospace, military, defense, and industrial sectors over here. Actually, as Mr. Srinivasan told, as well as Commander Matsudan Sabs told, everything is imported. Everything has to come from outside. And so everything depends upon the whims and fancies and the regulations of foreign nations. So we have to go through a lot of clearances from US as well as Europe and many other countries over here. But now that sector has been opened and a lot of indigenization has happened, and the existing government and previous governments have taken successive steps to indigenize and make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and all these projects have opened up. So, as a servo controls, I'm very proud to say that the sensors, position sensors from Belgaum, have gone to Mars. They have gone to Moon. They are on the Aditya L1. So that has given a tremendous confidence to a lot of industry segment that we can, given an opportunity, make wonders. So we, as a small team of around 350 people in Belgaum, has put in together a lot of critical technology, cryogenic parts for ISRO, then for defense, a lot of launchers and a lot of drones, actuators, and you'll be surprised that every week one shipment goes to Israel from Belgaum, supporting under the offset program and others. So it's a great journey of last 22 years for servo controls, and we'll be glad to share how we could able to achieve all that. But in the process, we don't want to get burnt because the segment is so vast and large that be a jack of all but master of one. That's how we want to take this further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shekhar, for setting the context. Good afternoon, everyone. And Deepak's a really inspiring story that you are doing something very meaningful, really inspiring right from where you started to what you have achieved. Just to set the context a little, I think like Shekhar mentioned in his opening remarks, India stands today at an inflection point. I think for the last couple of decades or so, we have been a contributor in some of the global programs that we're building for the world, but also building for what we were doing here in India. I think when I look at the vision for the next 15 years, 2040, the way how I see aerospace in India is it's a pivotal moment from transforming from being a maybe a cost competitive player to becoming a trusted partner, maybe in design, manufacturing, and innovation partner for the rest of the industry. Those were my thoughts. I think there are two, three levers that we need to exercise to become a meaningful player by 2040. One thing I believe we should also focus on building industrial depth where we go really deep into the process capabilities that we are building. Second thing also, I believe we should work on certain IP related segments. Today, largely we have been a manufacturing partner, but how do we also start doing meaningful design in aerospace platforms? Third thing, I think we should also in a way focus on training and upskilling. Those are my thoughts, but again, very happy to be part of this panel and would love to exchange my thoughts with the esteemed panelists this afternoon. Thank you.
Carrying on with Venkatesh sir's cost versus trust factor, servo control has done a lot towards ISRO and launch and everything. So is the trust factor fine now, sir? Deepak sir?
Yeah. That's what, like when the Mangalyaan wants way back in 2011, 12, and 13, those years, they said we want to do it within 8 months. And I said, they did ask me, like, do you have in cryogenic some of these technologies? Do you have an experience? I said, we don't have any experience to work at minus 60 to minus 100 degrees centigrade. They said, don't worry, we have all the labs, everything. We believe in you. Just do it. That's how it went up, and first time it was very successful. So the Indian PSUs and the organizations, they have to believe in your own people. When the foreign MNCs believe in us, why can't our own people? We have to give so many bank guarantees, we have to give so many stuff. That is another part of the business, but still, if you believe in your own people, a lot of wonders will definitely come out. That's the starting point, basically.
Yeah, very true.
So now, Wing Commander sir, now India now does it first time correct? Are we moving towards that kind of an movement, Wing Commander sir?
Yeah, in fact, I would say we are going towards that for the simple reason being that the aerospace and defense, the aerospace particularly, has characterized by a requirement of being not. We cannot talk as parts per million and other things. It it just there's no question of being erroneous. There's no question of faults being introduced or faults being carried on within the system. So even one part per million is something not acceptable.
Yeah.
So within this framework of the way it operates, so repeat making mistakes, correct course corrections, and then coming with a final good product, good process does not exist for this industry. That is a key thing for our future in this industry. So we are towards the first time right, but of course it's something like an asymptote. It just never gets there. But we need to get there, and that's where the industries are doing a great job, and of course, supported by the various governments. And very interesting thing in this case is earlier this domain was something which was only supported by the central government. Now there are a lot of state governments also getting into the play. So, for example, I can say with confidence that Telangana government is doing a great job. Tamil Nadu, though we are a late entrant, we are trying a catch-up game with what Karnataka or Telangana has been doing, but we are doing something there. So there are a lot of states like Maharashtra is stepping in, Gujarat is stepping in. So there are more states which are coming in, and all these are going to add to that first time right, which is the key thing towards success for this entire industry. And definitely, this is going to have its spin-off on the rest of the lateral industrial domains as well.
You mean to say that the IT revolution can be replicated in aerospace as well? So
it's already happening. It's already happening. It's a question of time before it becomes so well known, like what IT has been spoken about. Let's look at it. We have Aerospace, which is here. 10 years before, we wouldn't have thought of such an industry existing. Mr. Srinivasan is here. How many of us would have thought of it 10, 15 years ago that engine components could be made in India? It's a reality. But of course, the path is long. This is not the end of the road. This is just the beginning of the journey. The, the travel is quite a bit, but we are already there. It's just a matter of time before that shapes up like what we speak about IT.
Yeah.
So I can say that IT is AT, aerospace technology, if I may use the term loosely, let me coin the word AT. AT is what IT was a couple of decades ago.
Yeah.
We are at that inflection point. That's my opinion.
Venkatesh, sir, you want to supplement that?
No, I think I can't agree more. Just to, I think, quote a couple of things. I mean, India is today one of the fastest growing aviation markets in the world. Also, from an industry perspective, also, we are one of the fastest growing aerospace industry. Just to draw some parallels, today, if you look at China and India have both have same amount of population, but today China operates 3 times the number of aircrafts that we do in India. So there is a with growing disposable income and the growth that which India is growing, I see the catch up happening much quicker than what we have seen in the past. So there are going to be more airplanes that we are going to do, and India will continue to have a larger role that India will play. And as an ecosystem, all of us have to contribute to that journey.
Srinivas, sir, what are the top 3 growth opportunities that India's aerospace sector should prioritize by 2040?
There are the top three in my view. One is obviously I do a lot of things in civil. So I will say, like, in civil, we should strive to manufacture an aircraft, commercial aircraft in India by 2040. I think that is our dream. And for India, I think there is a possibility that it's likely to happen. I'm very optimistic by 2040, things should fall in place. That's the first thing. And then before that, to make it happen, why I'm confidently telling that is, like, the kind of support system for the civil aircraft manufacturing is already getting started growing in India. Kind of the engine parts or the structural parts or the avionics, all kind of support systems are growing pretty fast. So that is possible. And then so civil aircraft, the commercial aircraft manufacturing in India, that is my number one bet. Second thing, about obviously the MRO is required when we talk about manufacturing aircraft. Obviously MRO will follow that. Maybe MRO will come prior to that also a lot more. With all the more, whatever is happening on the defense side, the MROs are coming faster because of the demand India has. Definitely, there's a possibility that MRO will happen before even the commercial aircraft manufacturing. And maybe the commercial, when the MRO side, maybe some amount of tinkering required in the policy sides and the kind of incentives required, maybe a little bit more. And but otherwise, the skill development, that is an area which has to be focused for the MRO development, which is already happening. I mean, already the kind of Air India or the other players are already focusing on that. So that is my second big bet. The third thing is definitely for the defense side, we should start manufacturing our own. Definitely, there's all of you know that it's in public. Like AMCA is kind of an AMCA fifth, or I should even. I mean, I'm optimistic that we should even start thinking about the 6th generation fighter aircraft manufacturing in India, along with those engine manufacturing. Already there is talk. Already there are co-manufacturing discussions happening between various engine manufacturers and the Ministry of Defense. And I'm sure, like, one of them or two of them will materialize in the coming couple of years soon, and that will set the pace. And maybe by 2040, even before that, these 3 bets will happen, and I'll be really looking forward to see them happening.
Deepak sir, would you like to substantiate that?
Yeah. Definitely in civil aviation sector, I remember 2008, we started building the first test rig for then Goodrich Aerospace, and they want to build them in India and put them in Bangalore for testing all their actuators they made in Bangalore for the global market. And then by 2012-13, the quality was so good, and all these digital acquisitions and combinations and the algorithms. Actually, the global players started replicating those test rig across the UK and France in their Wolverhampton and the Paris facilities. So the lot of infrastructure building and all is getting done by a lot of these global players already in India. And I hope with the primary control system, the secondary control system, where engine is also a very critical part, we need to work on it. And some of the big players will definitely, like Safran, Rolls Royce, and all these people will chip in and use the existing resources. And the type of push that is all going on in this sector, I think maybe by 2030, because now that the growth is exponential, and it's called uh, growing fast. So I think by 2030 we should be able to see some light, and definitely some 85-seater, 90-seater aircraft will be there. Only the big problem in civil aviation sector, as it is a very sticky thing, is the regulations. So it is not that easy for everything to get acquainted with DGCA or the quality assurance systems and everything. So it looks to be a very challenging sector. But once we break that ice, maybe by 2030, we should be able to come up with the commercial plane of India, I think. Yeah.
And Wing Commander, sir, will we start with Saras as a first civil aircraft from India?
Continue the previous one, sir, before jumping to Saras. In fact, if I can add to the previous speakers, the greatest opportunity I see is that while we have missed the bus in making airplanes, we have to do a catch-up game. And right from we are not yet in a stage to compete with, as on date, we are not in a stage to compete with the likes of Boeing or Airbus or Embraer. But there is a huge opportunity which is coming up in our way, which is because, let me put it this way, an airplane, what was 30 years ago was a metallic tube which carried passengers with engines. That's it. Today, that's not the case. It is a world at an altitude of 36,000 feet, where the people who are on the ground want to have the same things, whatever they have on ground there. So an airplane is becoming more of a replication of my home. Whatever I have, I want to have Netflix at home. I want to have it right on my airplane as well. So it's becoming more of an extension of the terrestrial world where we are living in. So here is the case. That means it's becoming more digital. Here's the opportunity for us, because an airplane's life is 40 years, 30 years, 50 years. The structures, what is inside the airplane keeps changing. The requirements of people keep changing. This is a huge opportunity for us to get in, to get those technologies, those electronics, those stuff which we use in our day-to-day work, right there. Digital twin, all those stuff is where the real opportunity. The second biggest opportunity is, I feel, is in UAM and AAM. As I said, we missed the bus for the larger airplanes. But UAM is just starting off now. We are just a few years behind the market leaders. It won't take much time for us to catch up, considering the large number of brains we have. So these are two huge opportunities which we should prioritize by 2040. I'm not giving the third one. Yeah, you spoke about Saras. Yes, Saras has been on the developing board for a long time, and there is a considerable push being given by the development agency now. It has been reinvigorated, and considering the total number of people in this country and the propensity to fly, to use the terms used by Airbus, the increasing propensity to fly, this is huge. So the smaller places getting connected, Saras is, as of date, our best bet. But this best bet, we cannot rest on just the best bet. Probably this is a time then Indian companies could try to acquire technologies and make. There's no need to redevelop the wheel very often. Let's buy the wheel. Let's just transport the wheels here. Let's use the wheel. So if that start happens, it would be great. Right now, yes, Udan has given a fillip to all these stuff. Saras is going to be a feather in the Udan. We can't be waiting for Saras as well. Saras could be the catalyst, but the real action could be elsewhere. There are a lot of Quest Kodiaks and a lot of things which are flying all across the world. All we need is to get them here and they will be users. There's nothing which can fail in India, considering the fact that we have such a wonderful industrial ecosystem, a wonderful user base, and and the main thing is the people who are here. So yes, I'm also looking forward to the Saras taking to the skies.
Srinivasan sir did mention about MRO. Venkatesh, what are the key enablers for making India a global aerospace manufacturing and MRO hub?
Yeah, I think like Sini sir mentioned, MRO, I think space is something which will develop rather quickly in the country with the growing demand in the aircrafts that's happening in the country. I think MRO space will play a huge role. Like he rightly mentioned, I think the policy also needs to improve a little. I think there's lots of work that's been done on that front as well to enable that sector. Uh, in my view, I think there are two, three things that we'll have to focus on to enable enable or build a big MRO hub in the country. First thing is, I think, building certain world-class infrastructure to support the MRO industry. See, I think if you look at, there's one thing that industry doesn't have much control is building the infrastructure. That's where the governments have to play a larger role in building that infrastructure and the ecosystem. Second thing, I think also if there's a way how we can build certain testing and certification infrastructure that can be used by the entire ecosystem, that can play a major role in terms of developing the MRO industry. Second thing is, as you would be familiar, MRO industry is also something which has a lot of regulations and compliances that are needs to be followed. If there's a way how we can streamline that process and help the industry execute this in a faster manner, that will really help in taking this industry forward quickly. Third, and another very important thing is, unlike the aircraft manufacturing where OEMs play a larger role, which is design and final assembly of the aircrafts. In MRO industries, tier ones and tier two also play a major role because most of the time in MRO industry, you work on components, spares, etc. So if you build an ecosystem with tier one and tier two players, which anyway do a lot of value add in an aircraft to support that industry, if we build that ecosystem, that can really, I think, help the MRO space takeoff in the country.
Deepak sir, which are the probable MRO hubs that India would have in the coming years? One, of course, HAL is being propagated, but I don't know for reasons it has not been given the chance. Which are the other hubs you think, sir?
Yeah. MRO is one thing where the domain knowledge and expertise makes a lot of importance. Like what I feel is, if we think that HL Lucknow is there, HL is the backbone of our Indian aerospace sector, basically, in the sense all across wherever they are there, Lucknow or Bangalore or wherever, like Hyderabad and all other places. I feel mainly there is a lot of concentration in Bangalore. But the biggest challenge, what I feel, the hubs which will come is like for helicopters, and now even for the Saras itself, like Kanpur is there, and so many places. But what I feel is how the infrastructure will develop is actually from HAL and all. We expect a nodal officer to be appointed, and he should handhold the key domain industries. For example, servo controls is in hydraulics and closing the loop and some sort of electronics and sensors. There has to be a nodal officer from HAL who will concentrate and handle, because we built the Saras's first brake wheel assembly almost 14 years back over here, and we built prototype, happened everything, and then we built some position sensors, still they're used there, but nothing much took place, so many, and then those all efforts get in vain by the industry partners. So even in the MRO to develop and all that, there has to be a long-term contract with a certain industry, because to put an infrastructure, people, domain knowledge and all, there has to be a visibility of for next at least 10-15 years, and then the MRO comes. By having only the wishful thinking and oh, this is because I come from MOOC. I worked in MOOC facilities across America, in Europe, and all these things. I have seen how critical all these knowledge, technologies, and everything. So to replicate the same thing over here in India, we have to have a lot of things to like working with the Skytrawl, especially in the civil aviation sector. Like we put a great facility at Jigni, with the HCL for Boeing to test all the motors and flight control actuators and all that. So what I mean to say is every industry cannot be the expertise or trying to do everything. Like GIFA, the government especially you has to have a certain policy where they have to map to the industry, tell guys, you are good in this, you only do that. And if you keep on doing the same thing for next 10 years, you will come to the international level and also the cost will come down. What is happening in Indian aviation and defense sector is you win one L1, you do that project, then you go for another project, again you bid for that, you win that. So it is a khichdi, like, you never will have any expertise or that niche in one industry. You keep on executing some orders, some whatever comes up and all that. So basic supply chain management and procurement from Indian big industries or MODs and all has to have a long-term thing. The new officer comes, new guy comes, he switches his this thing. It doesn't work that way in aviation industry. For example, I'll tell you, my friends across the world, whoever is working last 40-50 years is still manufacturing the same thing, same solenoid valve for aviation sector, same actuators, same avionics, only the bells and whistles are getting added. So that sort of a major change or thing set has to happen. Just having wishful thinking will not happen. Only the foreign players will come up, they will set up, they have the policy, they will only manufacture and they will control the entire industry. If it has to be a truly indigenous, truly independent, that like Sindur happened, we can call our own shots. If something has to happen, then we have to have the software control, the hardware control, the manufacturing control, the supply chain control. Everything has to be in house in our land. Then only it will happen. And this sort of a thinking has to be a major thing which I feel is lacking. And this, if we not correct, whatever we talk will all be in vain.
Srinivasan, so that means sustained policy initiatives is a must for MRO hubs.
Yeah.
Srinivasan.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, sustainability plays a huge role in the coming years. Just not only restricted to the MRO. Of course, building a greener. It starts from. I'll start from the India design thinking. Like, how can India play a big role in kind of creating a sustainable, not only for sustainability in India, for the entire world in the aerospace aviation sector per se. It starts from India's strength. I'll say like composite material, lightweighting is a big thing in the aerospace, the aviation industry, and India can play a big role with an indigenized composites manufacturing. And again, using the AI-driven tools in designing lightweight parts, India can play a big role using the simulation packages, which is already happening. I'm not telling something which is not wishful list, which is already happening with one of our big players in India. Second thing, on the sustainability aviation fuel, which everybody knows that India has a huge capacity. And 2040, that capacity is going to be, maybe India can be a largest server of SAF to the entire world. I mean, sustainability aviation fuel can be, it's one of the big game changers coming in the industry, and India can play a huge role in that particular area. And second thing, which we can also, using the agricultural residue, India has got a lot of dumps. I mean, we have problems every winter happening in north of India. I mean, those agricultural residue I know that one of the IITs, they are working in converting that to a fuel, even including that can be used in the aviation side. So that will be a big technology. And by then, India can be play an advanced role in terms of research and development, in terms of the fuel that can be generated for the aviation technology. Another thing is we talk about the urban air mobility, where the drones and other things, where we have a lot of today we see the Swiggy's and Zomatos carrying the food packets. Tomorrow there will be a different thinking for them. They will become carrying a lot of cargoes from point to point, and which can help us to save a lot of create more sustainable world for the future. And again, we talk about the vertical takeoff and landing, ETOL, eVTOL. That's a big industry coming up, and India plays a big role. And all these together are huge opportunities. We represent only some. As we were talking about, can India become the soft replica of software bus that happened 20-25 years back? The way things are exploding today, the opportunity is going to be much more than that. We talk about building an aircraft. We talk about building a sustainable aviation possibilities from India. I think it is going to happen, and there's a huge opportunity ahead for us from sustainability side.
Madhusudan sir, so taking the cue from Srinivasan sir, how can MSMEs and startups effectively integrate into aerospace supply chains, both domestic as well as overseas?
Okay. Let me break down the entire aerospace supply chain. At the top of the shelf are the OEMs, the big boys, the Boeings of the world, the Airbus of the world, the HALs of the world. Then come the sub-tier partners, then the tier ones who are like Safran and other people. And then there are sub-tier partners who are predominantly MSME. If you take an example of Toulouse, right all around the Toulouse airbase, Toulouse airstrip runway are co-located with the Airbus facility. There's so many MSME players. And even if you look at in the Indian context, if you take the HAL, while there are bigger players who supply them, most of them are made at various MSMEs at Coimbatore, Rajkot, Belgaum, Hyderabad. It's these industries which are actually doing doing core of the heavy lifting. But here comes the problem. While the number of MSMEs in the country which are supplying to the uh, automotive world or the general engineering world are pretty large, but there is a entry barrier for these people to get into the aerospace stuff. While we don't have dearth of MSME, the dearth of MSME aerospace suppliers do exist. For the primary reason being that, first of all, the volumes are low. Second is that the requirement of quality requirements are very stringent, which most of the MSMEs are not keen to take the bite. The third thing is the certification problem. Let me take a typical thing. In order to get a work order from, let's say, IAMPL or J Aerospace or HAL, there is a need for certification. For getting a certification, the MSME needs to have an order. The first article inspection. There's so many things are there. So MSME is reluctant to get into this, which is very much understandable. However, things have changed over the past. In the last few years, it has been changed. For example, I, as in my current role, have been trying to reach out to multiple MSMEs which have been supplying to the general engineering, automotive, oil and gas, where it's much more comfortable to deal with. So I've been telling them that while your 90% of your production capacity can be for your traditional businesses, why not allocate the 10% to the aerospace, which is low volume, high margin, high quality. And practically the high quality which is needed for the aerospace industry is going to have a spin-off, and it's going to impact the other industrial segments in which that MSME also operates. That means the entire quality consciousness of that entire industry is going up. And that's happening. And it cannot happen overnight. First of all, the companies seem to need to see where the money is, which right now they're seeing because of the huge orders, because of Opsindur, because of the way Atmanirbhar Bharat has been happening, the way indigenization has been happening. A lot of MSMEs are seeing that all that was needed is an additional push, which on behalf of government of Tamil Nadu, I can vouch that we have been doing that push. And I can quote, for example, when it took a license, when it took a count of number of MSME industries which supply to aerospace and defense 3 years ago, I had about 400 industries, not me. There were about 400 industries in Tamil Nadu. And right now, we are in the process of taking a count. And I see that there are about 1,400 industries. In 4 years, this has grown 3 times. It's stupendous. All that is needed is a push from either sides, pull as well as a push. It's not sufficient if there is just a pull. The supply side is to be there, the demand side is to be there. The ecosystem has to be made conducive for them. Like, for example, we are in the process of creating, Mr. Deepak mentioned about the needs of testing. As part of the government of Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor implementation, we have already started implementing 4 test centers, which will be all of them will be operational before the end of this year, before the operation end of 2025. I'm not talking about financial year. For UAS, EW, electronic warfare, electro optics, and mechanical material, all for aerospace and defense standards. So these are initiatives which are going to help, and definitely yes, MSMEs are increasing, and that's going to be the success stories. We did not wait for a large OEM to emerge in the country. There is a good MSMEs are growing. MSMEs are supplying to the global giants, Indian giants, and then naturally there it won't be much before we have that HAL in the private sector, which is going to happen thanks to these things. So I agree with you. MSME is a key thing, and MSME comes under various state governments regulation as well as central government. While the central government policies are in place, state governments are stepping in. As I said earlier, this was one domain where the state governments were not bothered about 10, 15 years ago. But that's not the case now. So it is going to succeed, and it is succeeding.
But Venkatesh, entry barrier, long gestation periods, certifications, blocked money, these are all not sustainable for the MSMEs. So is there a how to break that path?
No, I think so. Firstly, I think I can't echo more on what Wing Commander Mr. Madhusudan mentioned. For startups and MSMEs, they should be very quality focused in terms of what they're doing. Coming to what are the barriers that we are looking at? See, all said and done, aerospace industry is a very capital intensive industry. That becomes also a big barrier for a lot of players to enter into this industry. That's one. Second thing that we also see, like when Commander mentioned, the quality and the certifications requirements are much more stringent when compared to any other industry that you draw parallels with. So how do we address some of these things? Firstly, if you look at how do we make capital more affordable and more accessible to the MSMEs and the startups in the country. Even today, the cost of capital is quite high in India relatively when compared to the Western world. How do we make this capital firstly more affordable and secondly more accessible to MSMEs? Of course, government has come up with a lot of schemes to help MSMEs to do, but I think we still have to do a lot more, especially for an industry like aerospace where capital requirements are very, very high. Second thing, I think government has been actively doing a lot of PLI schemes for various industries. We have not seen something which is very specific to aerospace manufacturing. If we get something like that, that will be a big boost to the industry. Second thing, of course, we have seen some tax and duty regimes that have come, which have helped and facilitated the industry over a period of time. But if there's something that we can build, which is focused on aerospace domestic market and as well as export market of aerospace, where there are simpler duty or tax regulations that we can come up with, that will be really helpful. Third thing, in terms of capital availability, I mean, a very recent phenomenon we have seen, and we have been a beneficiary of that particular thing, is growing interest in the venture capital community in the aerospace startups and aerospace ecosystem. So capital has become a little more accessible than what it used to be before. So I think there are some of these things that we have to do in terms of making the capital more accessible and affordable. Coming to how do we manage the stringent requirements of the industry? I think first thing and foremost thing is skilling. As we know, even today, there is a lot of gap between the skill set that what industry is looking at, what our academia teaches at schools and reputed institutes. How do we keep bridging that gap and make that gap as small as possible so that a lot of the workforce that we add every year, I mean, as most of the panelists would be aware, we add more than 1.5 million engineers to our workforce every year. How do we make them industry ready by bridging this gap between what industry needs and academia? This thing that should also help us create this talent force, which can be inducted into the sunrise sectors like aerospace and defense in the country to help with some of these regulations and building the process right from day one. So those are my thoughts, Shekhar.
Deepak sir, how can advanced technologies like AI, digital twins, and additive manufacturing transform aerospace R&D and production?
Wow, actually, those technologies have actually conceived from the aerospace technology means prototypes only. Like especially the additive manufacturing is a very key. Actually, to give a live example, we have to build a huge manifold block of 110 kg for one of the space missions. Then ISRO said we will do it using an additive manufacturing. Then the cost of the machine itself was in several crores. They set up. We worked under GoPo scheme, that is government owned private operated scheme, and we used that machine and built it almost half the weight of it, designed, and we machine and make the block and supply. So additive manufacturing will be a very critical role in coming aerospace sector because of the lightweight requirement and the complexity of parts and low volume. But the initial capital cost is high, so I always suggest government owned private operated is the best combination, which will always work win-win for both of them. Second thing is the AI is definitely going to play a very vital role. If you just tell AI, this is what is and I want to do, it just gives you 100 different ideas, and then based on your domain expertise, you select one and go ahead with that one. So we cannot design the future products and all that using the conventional methods now. We have to and got to use AI, no doubt in it, and the additive manufacturing. So these two will be the main thing. And coming to the digital twins, a lot of companies like fortunately a lot of big companies are putting up a huge, like Dassault is put up in Belgaum a great high computing machinery with GIT, and also the industries partner with all these academia institutes, and they are getting setups there, and we make use of those things. So the digital twins, if we make it, so the cost cutting and everything will happen tremendously. So when we are trying to do a lot of indigenization projects and products where India is very, very badly starving now, I think this three of those things, if we make use and manufacture quickly, I think these three will definitely play a key role, and they're already in use of the R&Ds of the industries. Yeah.
Srinivasan sir, you want to take that question? Newer technologies making growing the aerospace sector much faster.
And
Yeah.
cheaper also. Yeah.
Yeah. So the newer technologies are definitely going to create big advantage in terms of better manufacturing, and that is where again India can add value into it's a different thinking, because I keep getting some. I'll share you my personal experience when some customers keep asking me like, hey, guys, like, how are you going to compete with your competitors who are like 50 to 100 years in this field? You know, you're a budding young company and from India, and we are all either 6,000 miles or 10,000 miles away from you, and you have your competitors available in the developed world, and how are you going to compete with them and then win the businesses? My simple answer for them, like, first thing is I keep telling them, like, first of all, we have young talent available here in India, who are willing to take up the challenges. And for the commodities, whatever you are talking, including the aircraft, it doesn't require so many years of experience So which means like there's a lot of baggage in the developed country in terms of thinking, in terms of design thinking, and which is not there with us. So we can do a better job than them. Second thing, what I keep telling them is the digital revolution starts. I mean, the India is a supplier of resources for the digital revolution, and particularly like the cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, or whatever it is, the metros from India are supplying people for the digital revolution to all over the world. And you can't be in a better place than in Bangalore to support that kind of a digital revolution. And we make up for all the inexperience using our digital simulations. I mean, and we prove that with a couple of examples here. And these newer technologies in every area, starting from the 3D printing, which requires a lot of engineering skill sets, R&D, a lot of R&D is going on. Particularly, as all of us know, like there's a aerospace, it's a low volume, high mix business, except certain models, like particularly on the defense side are some of the low volume cargo models or some of the other models. So 3D printing, it requires a lot of engineering skill sets, kind of R&D, trials, and making that happen. And in no other place can be better than India because we have kind of talented engineers available. And I mean, I am seeing this for the last few years. Colleges, our engineering colleges, where people, I mean, the third year students or second year students, forget about the fourth year guys, they have a 3D printing machine at home and printing components.
Yeah.
Amazing. It is amazing. I mean, I have huge confidence after seeing that. I mean, there are in the colleges, they have robotics labs. We are working with one of them. And you know, the kind of talent what we have, the talent pool available there to create solve some of the complex problems of the industry elsewhere in the world, in some corner of, I'm not even talking about the metro cities like Bombay, Delhi, or IITs. It is coming from a tier 2 city engineering college where these guys have adapted themselves to the global challenges and solving those issues, solving the issues of the aviation industry. And it is giving a lot of confidence. And the third thing, you know, kind of whatever the AI we are today, as it is today, we are solving a lot of problems using the image processing technology in the inspection area, where we are using image processing technology already, and or the algorithms that can be driven by AI, where we can teach and reduce the repeated decision making leave it to the AI, which are performing almost equivalent or slightly better than the human method of inspection. And these are all, you know, we are solving the global problems using the technology from India. And similarly, you know, 3D today, it's a 3D printing. Once again, I'll go back to the 3D printing, which throws huge opportunity around the world. And India, I'm sure, like once we kind of get into the raw material availability in India for all the platforms, it will be a big industry by itself. And the third thing, supply chain side, the technology, whatever, you know, supply chain side with all the capabilities. There are so many problems in the supply chain today. People talk about aerospace aviation, people talk about supply chain issues, but I see that as a biggest opportunity from India, and where now we can, that is exactly what we want. These are the problems what we want to solve it for rest of the world. And we can today, we have integrated our ERP with our ERP, our MES systems, and then we are freely demonstrating to the customers that how this integration can be done. People sitting 6,000 or 10,000 miles apart, they can lively see what's happening for their production in our place. And those kind of technology and transparency, it's just not about, you know, the technology, it's about the transparency with which we operate. It's all very well appreciated, and that's throwing a huge confidence from rest of the world to solve the world's problems from India.
Venkatesh sir, what challenges does India face in meeting future aerospace demands?
I think we have touched base on some of them in the earlier questions as well. The first one that I see is, like I mentioned earlier, capital intensity of this industry. How do we mitigate that problem and make the capital more affordable and accessible? Second thing, again, something that we have touched base earlier, how do we get our workforce ready and skilled so that we are ready for this wave of growth that's coming into the country. I think with the way how the political landscape is shaping up with a lot of countries focusing on China plus one strategy, China plus strategy, I think there's a lot of demand that's coming towards India. There are natural tailwinds that are there in India with the growing population and we becoming one of the largest commercial aircraft procurer. So there is going to be demand in the country. I think two problems that we have to really look at is making capital accessible. Second thing is getting our workforce skilled. Now, like I mentioned earlier, of course, one thing is working with academia to bridge that gap between what industry needs and academia produces. Second thing also is how do we also as an industry develop certain niche in-house skill centers to keep continuously a pipeline of resources who can be ready as soon as there is a demand for this thing. Last and not the least, of course, how do we be ready in terms of our certifications, starting from base certifications like our AS9100, NACAP certifications for our special process. If you're working on defense platform, the requirements, adherence, and understanding those export control requirements, those are some of the basic things that we need to address to be ready for this wave of growth that's coming towards India.
Madhusudan sir, since you're in the policy advocacy stream, what policy reforms are reforms and incentives are needed to attract large-scale aerospace investments into India?
Okay. That's a wonderful question. Let me divide this policy reforms into two things. One, which is needed at the federal level, at the central government level, and one, what could be done at state government level, multiple state government level. I can say on this. First of all, one of the key policy initiatives from the government of India is that the very concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, positive indigenization list have already made a wonderful change when it comes to the military world. But whether it has its impact on the commercial world is limited. Is there something which probably the central government can do for the commercial aviation segment as well? Because the difference between commercial aviation and military aviation, technology wise, it's nothing different. The same ABS braking is there in both. The same afterburn, the same engine technology is the same. It's not different. The maintenance philosophies are same. The development philosophy is same. Only difference is that whether it's going to carry something destructive or it's going to carry people. That's the only difference when it comes to military and civil. However, there has been policy changes at the military level. However, these are still pending at the commercial level. While the Ministry of Civil Aviation has been pushing for assembly lines in India, it's not been mandated. Yes, it's a dual-edged weapon. In case it's mandated, there is a huge demand. Will it be possible for us to meet the requirements of the country by Indian assembled platforms? Are we ready yet? Not yet. So this is something as a person, as a citizen of this country, I would probably the one policy change which I would yearn for, I would love to have is that maybe sometime down the line, some indigenous content in commercial airplanes flying in India. Because as of now, we have about 800 airplanes. But come 2040, come 2044, we're going to have 3,900 planes. Huge numbers. It took 100 years for us to start from zero, 1910, when the first plane took off in Chennai to Madras. Then in 120, 115 years, we just reached 18 commercial airplanes and 800 commercial airplanes. But in the next 20 years, it's going to multiply 4 times, 4, 5, 6 times. So we have to put this policy in place that some content has to be made in India. And when it comes to the state governments still do not, while the civil aviation departments do exist in certain states, these have to be strengthened because the importance given to surface transportation is not the same given to aerial transportation. However, if you look at the growth of the aviation has been much more stupendous than the terrestrial transportation. The state governments are yet to provide that particular focus in this industry. So I, as a citizen, would wish that the state governments also focus on it. There are a few states which have taken the lead. Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu have taken the lead. But it's for all the states to take a lead and let there be a good competition between states. It's a competition which is going to create the best among them. the competition is going to compete and complement each other. So these are the policy changes which I would love at a much higher level. And going down at a slightly ground level, I would say that the every state and the government of the states and the government of India should probably focus on giving a special status to those industries, the MSME, the medium level players who operate in this aerospace division domain, be it commercial or military, some special status for a fixed period of time, which will encourage these companies to get into this domain despite the fact that they are facing headwinds. So, at a policy level, this is what I would expect. And let me also answer this one question which has been asked by Mr. Adarsh Siddharth, which is not exactly pertaining to commercial aviation, but which is relevant. He has typed it out. He has asked whether state governments can actively involve in sandbox initiative to promote beyond visual line of sight drone delivery. Yes, drone is also a commercial aviation. I would say that. I can say this as being part of Tamil Nadu government. We are already considering that while we are creating test centers for unmanned aerial vehicle systems, we are also contemplating creating a sandbox somewhere in a place called as Ulundurpet, 180 kilometers away from Chennai, where all these players could literally meddle with their systems. And what is applicable for the smaller drone players? What the difference, the technology wise, whether it's a small plane or large plane, the Bernoulli's principle is same for aviation. It's not going to change. So that sandbox will be a very important thing across all the states. Is also one more wish list of mine. What we are trying to do in Tamil Nadu, what Andhra Pradesh has already announced at Kurnool. So this is something which every state can do, which would enable aviation industries, be it drones or the larger commercial airplanes or UAM, AM, name it. So that would be one good policy change, which I would also wish every state government would do.
Deepak sir, since you're already in the ground zero operating, if you have to ask two immediate important policy change reforms with the government, what would that be?
First thing, as Commander Saab said, give a special status to the industries which are in this sector. That's very important, so that they don't go through the problems that any other MSME or the medium enterprise faces. Give a special status, focus on that. And second one is adapt the policy of like a GIFA in France. Like if somebody is doing engines industry, let him master that in mass production and all. So that there will be a focus and a business plan for next 10-15 years for that industry. He cannot be manufacturing many things and not excel in that, which we are lacking. So these are the two basic fundamental changes we have to do. So every tender, every order, everything, if we want to make that particular hydraulic seal, it has to go to that vendor so that he excels in that one, get the mastery over it. What is now happening is the industries, they win one order, execute for 5-10 years, then they go into the next sector. So you don't because in aviation, aerospace and defense, why only Boeing, Airbus and Embraer are there? Because they have been building only that thing for last 50 years. This is the difference. So these two things, I think the government has to make, and that will make a lot of difference.
And Venkatesh sir, do you have any wish list?
I think we briefly spoke about it, and maybe a PLI scheme for the sector would really help.
Can we take some questions? I think this is to Srinivasan sir. HR skill management is important, but it must in aerospace and defense. So how do you find the right talent and what sort of hiring processes is there in IAMPL?
Yes, that's a very good question. This is the kind of a challenge what we have in the industry, but also we have solutions like in IAMPL. What we do there are two types of the lateral entrant. We don't definitely get a ready-made fit into whatever we need. Definitely, we get 50 to 60% kind of fitment. Then we train them here, and that goes on. Second thing, to also retain the people who are with the talent, we have some retention policies in place. But in spite of that, we are getting beaten. People continue to make changes, expecting some short-term gains. On the other hand, we have a overall, so to manage this problem, what we also have a big program called TTT, Train, Transform, and Take Off. So that is our program. It's a company-wide or kind of organization-wide program. And this includes other stakeholders, like we work with the universities on this, and then we work with our own people, and we work with, the expert institutions like HAL in shaping this talent pool for us. So what it means is we send our people also to the specialized institutions for specialized education, and also skill-ready people are required sometimes for us, because it takes few years to get trained in this and be a kind of a candidate ready for delivering results in the industry. So what we are also doing is we have collaborated with some academic institutions. Like we are setting up the fourth-year curriculum of the engineering to our needs, or the third-year diploma to our needs. And 60 to 70% of the time is spent by the students with us. The remaining 40% of the time in the college, and they go for the exams, and we provide them the facilities required here. So by the time, when they complete the graduation, and for the potential deserving candidates, we observe them here. So which means they are ready to, at least they are 40% ready to start the work when they complete their education. Similarly, same thing is applicable with the diploma holders. So this is something which is very, very essential, and the steps have to be taken by us. Similarly, we are also expecting that way, we also, other industries also doing similar things. It's nothing new. Whatever I told you, it is just nothing new in this. Many organizations like us are doing similar things, and people change the companies. Finally, the one good thing is people are available within the ecosystem in India, most of them. And we are very proud that way, we are contributing to the industry's growth, and we also get people from the other industries to us. But we definitely are working towards it through our TTT program, and groom the people, youngsters, into an aerospace engineering expert over a few years in every area, like the machining or the special processes or the engineering or the simulation. So all these areas, again, we pick up the lateral talent, deserving lateral talent, and pick them and then train them. And for the people who are with us, we have the retention policies, retention plans in place. So that really helps us.
This question is to Mr. Venkatesh. Since J Aerospace is growing very fast, any advice to startups and how to raise funds?
Got it. I think there are a couple of things that we'll have to consider. Maybe I'll pick up a learning from what Deepak sir mentioned during his comments. For a startup or a small company that's starting off, focus is something which is very, very important. I think a lot of companies, based on the opportunity and the need, hover around quite a few things. What's really important is start small but go really deep into it, so that you build a certain level of expertise in what we are building. So it's just not important only to build capacity. It's very, very important to build capability and find a niche for yourself and just build really deep capability there. That's something that's very, very important. I think second thing is, it's a mantra that we follow here at J Aerospace, is invest really early in talent and culture. If there's a real differentiator in the long term, that's people. So it's very, very important that for a startup who wants to start off in this space, it's very important that they invest in talent and culture really early in this thing. Third thing is build trust with the customers. See, all said and done, in a sector like aerospace industry where the gestation cycles are very long, a lot of these industries run based on reputation and the trust that you build with your customers. So it's very important that we be transparent with our customers, our suppliers, even for that matter, all the regulators who are involved in this thing. We'll have to build trust so that we are in this for the long term, so that we build that trust. And reputation matters a lot in this particular industry. The credibility that you build over a period of time will help you get a lot of work going forward. Just in terms of funding, I think today there is lots of quality capital that's available in the country, especially for the sector of aerospace and defense. Having said that, I think what's very important is understand your niche, build your capability, and show a pathway to revenue and profitability to the investor. I don't think there is a challenge as long as we are able to show a roadmap on building a solid capability and revenue and accessing capital today. Having said that, my advice would be raise capital when you don't really need it, so that it's easier for you to do. Those are my thoughts.
This question is to Deepak sir. It's an offbeat question. Sir, you have been influenced by Dr. Kalam. And what's your advice, career advice for the people, sir?
Oh yeah, that's what like that was in a scenario when after Pokhran, India was under sanctions, and we want to make the servo valves in India for all our programs. So I was called in and worked with his team and himself. That's how we built some of the great labs in India and all. So it was a great instrumental in putting up. So that's how I said the GoPo system, government-owned, private-operated lab came up, and we built. That's what is the beauty. Like what Kalam Sahib used to say, banks have a lot of money, but they cannot make a product, So you need a talent, you need some skill sets, You have an atta at home, but you cannot make a chapati by yourself unless you learn how to make it. So that's what Kalam said. Like a lot of ingredients are there, but you need to have those basic skill sets and the capability to do it. So and once you achieve those know-hows and how to transform money into a product and into a system, that is what I learned from him. And a lot of things will fall in place. Like even Venkatesh said, PLIs are required. And like fortunately, we are in PLI of drones. So we get a lot of funding from government also because we have been doing it for last 12 years. We have been supplying all the actuations for those things. And when you intensely desire something, a lot of things will definitely fall into place, and you make it happen. And only thing is now that we are at the infectious point and a lot of things are there, so we need to focus and build our own niche into that market rather than I say a jack of all but master of one. Yeah.
This question is to Madhusudan sir. It's a brass tack ground zero question. Can you tell us more about TIDCO and how it's helping the industry and how to reach out to you and your team?
Okay, the easiest part is how to reach out to us. It's very simple. I'll type out my mail ID in the chat window. That's the easiest way to reach me out. And what TIDCO is a very unique case. I think there is quite a bit of audience. TIDCO stands for Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation. And as the name suggests, our job is very simple: industrial development of Tamil Nadu. And we are the investment arm of the government of Tamil Nadu. We invest in companies. It was created in 1965 to invest in large scale industries. Until date, we have invested in more than 130 companies. And to the surprise of the audience, one of the best investments till date is Titan Industries, which normally we hear as Tata's Titan. But the largest shareholder in Titan is TIDCO. We own more than 26% stake, while Tata's own 24% stake. And there are a lot of other industries. We are spread across multiple sectors. Our aim is to create industrial development here. And we are also, this was the past when the license Raj was there. Then we went into infrastructure creation for enabling industries. Now we take up special projects. And one of the special projects which we undertake right now is aerospace and defense, Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor. So we are the implementation agency within Tamil Nadu for the defense industrial corridor. And how we develop the industry is there is no scope for this. Scope is unlimited. We can do anything within legal limits so that the industry can prosper in Tamil Nadu. Let me mark my words very clearly: in Tamil Nadu. We cannot help industries which are outside Tamil Nadu. For example, Mr. Srinivasan would be able to vouch for it, how we help them while they decide to establish their plant in Tamil Nadu or Hosur. So our job is that. And we create not only for those industries which want to come here, it is not a promotional agency, it is everything put together. We promote industry, we help the industries in the sense that we create industrial parks, we create testing centers, we create common facility center, we create whatever is we create. We have created designs, common design centers, and we would be willing to create anything which is going to help the industries grow. And when I say industries grow, there are only two things which we do not do. One is getting industries orders, which the industry has to get themselves, because we don't want to be marketing people for any industry, because we have to do it for everyone or for none. That is one thing we don't do. And second thing we don't do is we don't lend finances. Apart from that, we can do anything from the time of concept to the functioning stage, anything. We are here to help the industry. That's where it's a simple role what we do for the industry. For aerospace and defense industries, we are the nodal agency for the defense industrial corridors, so whatever is needed, barring these two. While I say that we do not get them orders, we go beyond that. We connect industries with procurement agencies. We have done buyers conference for HAL, for CS, Cochin Shipyard, for CVRD, for HVF. So we do organize such buyer seller meets for industry where they could pick up orders. But definitely we don't say, okay, we don't walk into HAL and say, yes, there is an industry A, please give the orders to them. That's something which we don't do. Apart from that, we can do anything. And I would type out my contact details on the chat window here so that people can have my contact details. And it doesn't matter. It's a this aerospace and defense team at TITCO is operating across various. There's a agency called as Guidance Tamil Nadu. There is a part of the team in that as well. So it doesn't matter which agency you reach out to, the requirements would be looked after.
This question is from Pratibha V. Being an MSME, what are the basic certifications required to enter aerospace? Any of the panelists can take, sir.
Partly.
Let the industry people answer. I'll add in later.
No, I think we partly answered this in the earlier part of the conversation. The base certification that you look at is AS9100 certification. That's the entry this thing to the industry. Secondly, there are certain specialized certifications like NADCAP approvals for certain special process. Following that would be based on the specific work that you do, if there are any relevant OEM approvals that we have to do. But the starting point is an AS9100 certification.
Yeah, and if they want to bid for something, go in the jump panel. There are thousands of inquiries related to your this thing. So GEM portal is one thing, and the defense procurement portal. These two portals, if you see, you get a lot of inquiries there. Then you bid and qualify for that and enter into the market. Yeah.
This question is from Shruti Shukla. She's from IT consulting companies. So is there any opportunities to collaborate with aerospace organization to co-create scalable kind of solutions? Any of the panelists can take this.
I will take that. So yeah, there are plenty of opportunities, like starting from the AI algorithms to the image processing, or to work on the connected machines space, again to streamline the engineering side of it. There are plenty of opportunities, but yeah, you can identify your core skill to a particular problem and try to solve it, and then come with a, I mean, you should then approach it with a kind of a POC which you have tested and ready. Only thing what the aerospace industry does not allow is a mistake. So only thing, you cannot start this as a learning ground, which is impossible, or it's the biggest risk the industry will never allow. From that perspective, you need to be really clear about what your core competency and what problem you are trying to solve for the industry. As I told you, the opportunities are plenty. And then if the solution is definitely working, and then probably definitely we collaborate with few organizations, and then we make it to work, then the starting point will be easier.
This question is specific to Wing Commander, sir. How will you create a safe and sound business environment with minimal red tapeism?
That's a very difficult question to answer. But before answering this question, if I can continue what Mr. Srinivasan was telling, IT consulting companies, having worked in the aerospace IT part of it for 5 years, I'd be qualified to answer that question. Uh, in fact, if you look at it, let me take a typical example of Boeing at Chennai. There are about 1,000 people working at Boeing Chennai, 4,000 people working at Boeing Bangalore. And we would assume that all of them are aeronautical engineers. But the fact is that out of 1,000 people at Boeing Chennai, maybe about 900 people are working on IT related stuff, be it design, be it various things. The core aerospace engineers are limited. 4,000 people at Boeing Bangalore, I would say almost 3,500 are non aeronautical, electronics, communication, IT, software. So, gone are the days when you would say that IT was aerospace and IT were different. Right from design stage, be it model-based simulation, MBSC, simulation, digital twin. There are so many things where IT is there. Without IT, the aviation doesn't exist as on date. Okay, that's for the previous question, which was much more easier than the new question which you've thrown at me. How do you create a safe and sound business environment with minimal red tape? Yes, I can answer this question in a first person opinion. While the red tapeism is a reality in the country, that's where organizations like TIDCO work as an interface between the industry and the government. So let me put it this on. My team, comprising of 5 members here, none of them are from the traditional government industrial employees. They are all professionals working for the industry within the government. So this is one of the ways which we have done it to ensure that the red tapeism is minimized, to make the journey bit more easier. While it is very difficult to change the governance, but there are enterprises like ours which are there to ensure that the, the red tapeism which companies encounter is minimized. But I don't know whether how it is possible that without that, that's my dream as well. Even I would love to know the answer for that. But unfortunately, the question is being thrown at me.
This question is to Venkatesh sir. Opportunities available for developing equipment in product and sub-assembly automation and testing areas.
So I think I'll briefly answer this based on limited to aerospace manufacturing sector, but I would request if other panelists, if they have views, I'll encourage them to share that. See, from a aerospace manufacturing perspective, if I were to look at automation, firstly, as we are all aware, aerospace industry is a low volume and high mix industry, which is not very conducive from a automation perspective, strictly talking about manufacturing space. However, having said that, there are still commodities and components where, let's say, if you're on a single aisle platform, the volumes are still decent where you can work on automation. I think what we need to really focus on is the value that we are able to generate out of the automation rather than just doing automation for the sake of automation. For example, at Aerospace currently, we have used robotics and automation for welding as a case study because we found that particular to be a skill set which is scarcity and very dependent upon an individual and their respective skill set to do it. So that's where we have used automation to build in more consistency and quality into the thing. So we'll have to identify use cases where it's going to make real impact and generates value. So those were my thoughts, just specifically looking at aerospace manufacturing. But I would encourage if other panelists, if they have any thoughts to add to it, please.
One last question we can ask. This is from Dr. Sachin Sabnis. Any of the panelists involved in academia for research and innovation?
Yeah. Can I go ahead with that?
Please, sir. Please.
Yeah. Means the question is whether any of the industries are involved in
with academia for innovation and research.
Yes. We have at present in Belgavi, we have involved with GIT here. in their Dassault Aerospace Center and IT with the uh, innovation of some products for the ISRO. And we are working with them, and we have an excellent to and fro backup. And also, one product has been manufactured and installed also at ISRO. So the credit is for both industry and academia, and it has worked fantastically under the chairmanship of one Mr. Belgaonkar, who is the GIT chairman over here. Yeah.
Venkatesh, sir, anything you want to add to the academy and R&D?
I think I have
Is involved in this?
about it. Yeah. So I think from our perspective, currently we have partnered with certain institutes to, like I was sharing earlier, bridge that gap between academia and what we need from the industries. Today, what we go in a little early for our placement drives, where we give our curriculum to train the students from these institutes for the last 6 months of their course, which helps them become a lot more ready, and then they come into our own skill center and get trained, which helps to reduce the absorption cycle into the industry much faster.
We come to the close of this session. So one last question, business outlook
Mr.
question.
Shekhar, can I add something to this? Because
Please, sir, please,
I
sir.
think I'd be able to add value there. There is one scheme of TITCO. We are creating something called as university research parks. What this university research park means is, to start with, it's coming up, it's operation at Madurai and at Coimbatore. What the core of this URP is that any industry which has a problem statement can come over and propose to TITCO in collaboration with the universities. But unfortunately, it can be done only in Tamil Nadu to start with, which is in Madurai and Coimbatore. We would do some funding ourselves. There would be the academia which would be involved in undertaking research to provide solutions for the problem statements of the industry. So here's a beautiful case where the industry could be from anywhere. They come up with a problem statement, tie up with the universities of Tamil Nadu. TITCO would also be providing funding. The brains would come from the university. The solutions could be monetized by the industry, and that's a win-win for all. This is a new scheme which we have started very recently, and anyone with problems can come to us.
Yes. One last question I would like to ask. Deepak sir, how do you see this mission critical sector moving in the short term, a business kind of an outlook?
Yeah, definitely. There is a lot of pressure actually. So the customer is hungry. So definitely he will come to you and get the things done. And I think this is the right time because a lot of indigenous content requirement is very high. And earlier, the amount of effort that we have to take to win a contract was much difficult. Now it is much easier because the hunger is there, the need is there.
And Srinivas sir, long-term kind of a business outlook for this revenue generating sector?
It is very good because there are reasons for it. India being, growing, and the industry is growing pretty fast in India than any part of the world. And there's a huge demand, and that is driving the supply side also. So it's full of long term, it's full of opportunities. But only thing is be ready, and it's a investment, as my other panelists, Venkatesh, kept saying that it's an investment heavy industry. So don't underestimate and jump inside expecting some short term gains. That is the only thing you have to keep in mind. But kind of, we'll have to definitely, there will be a struggle. But, we have the industry as a long term, it is really looking very bright. Opportunities everywhere. Civil, MRO, defense, space, drone, IT. I mean, every area connected with the industry, there's a huge opportunity.
And
Let us praise it.
Venkatesh sir?
No, I think I really echo the thoughts of the other co-panelists. I think India is at that inflection point. There's, in a way, unprecedented demand that we are seeing right now in the industry, that we can also see from the growth that some of the companies who are in this sector were seeing in the last 3-4 years. So I think massive opportunity. Just it's important that we are ready and be prepared to absorb all of this. I don't think demand would be a problem, at least for the next decade or so to come. It's about our readiness and our ability to pick up that work and deliver confirming parts on time and consistently to our customers.
One last word from Madhusudan sir before we close.
I don't have any last words. It's the one last phrase I would have is it's great to see such meetings where people from accomplished industry, people from government, everyone coming together, the trade bodies, creating a platform for interaction specifically for this aerospace and defense domain is something which is wonderful. It gives probably few years ago. I mean, we have veterans like Mr. Srinivasan who has been in this industry for long. And these were dreams. These were not, we couldn't have even dreamt of such thing happen. So thanks to you people for organizing and thanks to people for getting time to come over here.
I request Dinesh sir to kindly put up a video on the IMS India Manufacturing Show 2025, please. Dinesh sir, audio is not there.
Yeah, why did
I think there was a technical glitch with the audio. Anyway, we all invite all the panelists to be part of India Manufacturing Show 2025. With this, it was really great, my privilege to personally thank each of the wonderful panelists. I take this opportunity to thank all our panelists for this very, very comprehensive knowledge sharing capsule. It is always a pleasure to listen to these great speakers. Well, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, one and all. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.